Well, the trumpeter in the south stand is leading the Spurs fans in a chorus of When the Spurs Go Marching In. Alvin Martin alongside me, Ian Danter here. You're listening to the Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. And you and I were wondering out loud off air before we started this broadcast, Alvin, how full this stadium would be. Certainly when you look at the south stand, the bottom tier is completely full, and the top tier is looking respectably full. There's a few gaps in the north stand, top tier away to my left, and the east stand over there on the far side as well is looking a little sparse in the top tier. But, you know, generally it's pretty good when you consider the match situation and the price of match tickets for these Champions League occasions here. It's pretty good effort, I would say, Alvin.
Well, I think the fans that have turned up are the hardcore, aren't they? The ones that they're going to come hell or high water, you know. And I think credit to them.
They've created in the Championship.
they've certainly come out in numbers, and I think they'll be behind this team. For a start,
yes.
But I think what's really important now is that the Tottenham players keep them on the side, keep them actually interested in this game, and they do that by giving 100%, going into tackles without getting themselves sending up, flying into tackles as if they mean it. They did that at Anfield, and I think, you know, it raised a lot of eyebrows. It surprised a lot of people, Dan.
Well, I don't think in the first half at Anfield, because I was there reporting on the game for Talksport. And I don't think in the first half Spurs thought they could get anything out of Liverpool. I think they almost resigned to the fact that once Liverpool went in front, that Liverpool were going to go through the gears. But point one, Liverpool were careless in the way they went about their business. And then after an hour, the self-belief actually started to come into that Spurs 11. None of them hid, credit to them. And they deserved that equaliser, didn't they? They did.
I think that sometimes, you know, it's not until the game after a performance that you find out and you make sense of it, because how much you put down to Spurs digging in, showing character, and how much you put down to Liverpool being off the pace and not at their very best. Yeah. So, you know, there's a case for both there. I think tonight will maybe give an indication on that.
It's getting loud in here. The Champions League theme pumping through the PA system here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I bet that's Pete Abbott doing that, former Talksport news reading legend who operates the PA system here. I don't think they've got to worry about people booing over the top of it like you get at other Premier League stadiums, but Champions League theme quite well received here at this stadium. But is this going to be the last time they hear it for some considerable time? A reminder of the teams: Vicario in goal for Tottenham, Porro, Romero, Dragusin, Van der Ven and Spence all at the back. In midfield, Simons, Sarr, Gray and Tell, Colomouani up front. And for Atletico, Musso is the goalkeeper tonight. Molina, Lenormand, Hanko and Ruggieri at the back. Simeone, Llorente, Cardoso and Lookman across midfield. Griezmann and Alvarez up top. Ademola Lookman's an interesting case study. I'm looking forward to seeing him play tonight. Arvin came through the Charlton system, coached by Jason Ewell, a former Talksport colleague of ours. Didn't quite work for him in the Premier League at clubs like Everton and Fulham, but he went out to Atalanta and made a bit of a name for himself out there, didn't he?
Well, I think it's you know, it is about finding your place in it, and I think sometimes experiences make you better, make you stronger, and people take different paths. I think looking at the way that they'll play tonight, Atletico, look, they will attack. I think they'll look at scoring an early goal, dance, and they'll know, and certainly Simeone will know, if they score early, then that is going to do a lot of damage to them around, not just to the team but the supporters here, and he can use that. They won't sit back, they won't look at defending, so what Tottenham are going to have to be really careful of is that if they do lose the ball, making sure that they're in a position where they can stop that counter, because Atletico are as good as any team left in the Champions League at countering.
Our referee tonight, Daniel Siebert from Germany, German assistants and fourth official as well, and indeed German VAR assistants back at the VAR hub in Lyon. Plenty of Atletico support in that northeast corner of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We're sat high up in the west stand here. Beautiful bird's eye view with the south stand, that huge banking stand away to our right, with the skywalk at the top of the south stand that if you're feeling brave and don't have vertigo you can have a go at. walk up there with a harness. Fancy that, Alvin?
It's very impressive to look at. I'm not so sure I'd like to be on that back row though.
Okay. I've often thought about it, but then I've chickened out. Like the chicken at the top of that.
You have to take the lift up there.
Yeah, I think I would. We're underway on Talksport 2. Spurs in all white with their little dark blue trim around the shoulders. Atletico in their change strip of a rather fetching lighter blue with flecks of white and red around the shoulders. Jed Spence on the attack. Spurs attacking the north stand in this first half, and it's forced for Molina to put the ball out of play for a Spurs throw about 5 yards from the corner flag. Lots of other football tonight. Liverpool just getting underway against Galatasaray. 1-0 down from the first leg that Alvin and I brought you last week, and Bayern Munich 6-1 up from the first leg at home to Atalanta. If this game was beyond an opponent, I think Atalanta's trip to the Allianz Arena is definitely a bit of a fanciful chance of them getting back into it. There's also Championship football underway at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Norwich 0, and MK Dons getting underway against Colchester in League 2. MK Dons second in the table behind Bromley. Another long throw for Spurs, going to come in from the right-hand side, and it's going to be Radu Dragusin to take it in front of the travelling Atletico support. It's about 10 yards from the corner flag on the far right-hand side. Let's see what sort of purchase he can get on this throw, the Romanian. Gray making a run towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It goes beyond him, headed half clear, and then Lookman hooks it downfield, but Vicario, way out of his ground, will pick it up for Spurs under no pressure, and will hit a diagonal ball right to left, seeking Matisse Tell out up against Molina. Controls it well, Matisse Tell, but in turning away, that allowed Simeone to win it back. And then Simons steps in and wins possession back. Bit careless from Atletico in these early stages, and Diego Simeone is already gesticulating as wildly as we normally expect him to. Igor Tudor, much more sedentary, just down beneath us. Spurs are doing well early, Alvin. They're not letting Atletico settle at all, although Callum Wiley's just given away a free kick. 0-0.
Yeah, they've gone with the 3 centre-halves, and they're pushing Porro and Spence really on in the wider positions, and that's fine when you've got the ball. Obviously, when you turn the ball over, that's when you could be found out, but at this moment in time, they're not really getting an opportunity to play the ball out. They're playing high up the pitch. Tottenham putting Atletico under pressure, not letting them build up, and they're not really into the groove yet, Atletico. It's been a bright start by Tottenham. Kyler Mawani plays the ball infield, and Tell trying to make a nuisance of himself at the edge of the area. Hooked away for Alvarez to try and control on halfway for Atletico, but Spurs win it back. They've kept the ball well in these first 3 minutes. And here is Pap Sarr rolling it out to the left-hand side for Xavi Simons. Simons hits a diagonal pass all the way out to the far right-hand side for Pedro Porro. Up against Ruggieri, the Italian left-back. Heading for the dead ball line for a moment was Porro. Then just checks his run, then goes again and wins a corner for Spurs in the northeast corner. And Porro whipping up the locals to get behind the team. 0-0. Well, he's got to find himself, he would like to think, in that position a lot on the edge of the opposition's penalty area, rather defending on the edge of his own penalty area. And he's done well there. He's adventurous. He wants to get forward, won himself a corner, and obviously he's doing what a lot more players do now, waving their arms up down, trying to get the crowd going. You need more than that.
They need goals, and there's a packed 6-yard box full of players of both clubs. And there's 5 players standing outside of all that, including 3 Spurs players at the edge of the area.
Every Atletico player's in there as well now, in their own penalty area.
Corner hit in by Tell. Bit of a flap from Musso, but either he was getting fouled, or I think it was Hanko, the other centre-half, who was getting fouled by Archie Gray. So Atletico get themselves a free kick from inside their own 6-yard box.
I couldn't see too much wrong with that. Again, it looks like a case of overprotecting a goalkeeper. It's flapping at a ball. But look, it's been a bright start. They've got the ball into the Atletico half. They've thrown in long throws, corners. So it's a bright start. I'm sure it's exactly what he would have wanted, the manager.
I will say it's a much brighter start than Chelsea made 24 hours ago in the game I watched at Stamford Bridge against PSG, where by this point they were already about to go 1-0 down and looking like they were going to go 1-0 down. 4.5 gone. Simons in the centre circle, just loses out, showed too much of that to the American Johnny Cardoso. And then Ruggieri knocks it back for Hanko. The Norman just to his right, picks it up now, the right-sided centre-half. Fires it up to Molina on halfway. The ball in field for the fair-haired Griezmann, who's got more of like a platinum silver fox look about his haircut these days. Antoine Griezmann. Lookman out on the left-hand side, faced up by Porro, darts toward the left-hand corner of the area, coming in field, still has the ball. Lookman places it across to Griezmann at the edge of the area, gets it on his left, making room for a shot at the edge of the net. It's blocked out to the right-hand side, driven across goal and offside against Lookman. He turned it into the back of the net, but the German assistant on this near side immediately flagged for offside, and it stays 0-0. And Ademola Lookman goes, "What, me?"
But you know, that's the first time we've seen him in an attacking dimension in the first 5. We're just coming up to 6 minutes now, Dan. How sharp was it? Yeah. It had intent, didn't it? That whole move there had intent written all over it.
Simeone, the man that got away down the right, the manager's son. What it must be like to be the son of Diego Simeone, playing for your dad's team in the Champions League. Pressure? Blimey.
He looks like he enjoys it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks like he enjoys it. But, you know, look, I've got a lot of respect. You know, he's been there a long time. We were talking about his record, Simeone.
Yeah.
Atletico. It's incredible. 784 games he's had now. And the consistency of the club's performance since he took over has been immense.
Yeah. Top 5 every single season he's been there since 2011. Which, as we were talking about again off air before we started, is no mean feat to be that consistent. And he's won a couple of titles in that run.
2 titles, 2 Champions League finals.
Yeah. Not to be sniffed at. One wonders what Atletico Madrid will be and what they will become when Diego Simeone is no longer there. Papsar for Spurs, just in front of his own 18-yard box. No goals anywhere else in the Champions League or indeed in the EFL so far tonight. 7 minutes gone here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Good noise inside the ground. Colomboani tries to flick the ball in field but can't get past Molina. Touched back by Hanko to the goalkeeper, Juan Masso, who joined from Atalanta a couple of years ago. He's only made 17 appearances before tonight, but with Jan Oblak pulling a muscle, he came in at the weekend and played very well by all accounts to keep a clean sheet against Getafe. Spurs with a free kick just next to the centre circle as Alvarez just brings down Papsar with a little clip of the ankles. 0-0 here.
A silly foul really by Alvarez, just allowing Spurs. He wasn't going anywhere with the ball, so it was a needless foul.
So Porro standing over the free kick. It's just to the left of the centre circle, inside the Atletico half of the field. All the Spurs players have gone to the right in terms of trying to win a header. Then the ball goes short to the left, and Jed Spence. Now he'll hit a diagonal ball. Maybe Archie Gray can win the header now. It's headed away by Cardoso, who's back defending, helping out his centre halves. Lookman with his back to play inside his own half. Tucked back into the edge of the area in Hanko. Tries to run between 2 Spurs players and loses out. Archie Gray looking for space at the edge of the area. Now Simons tries to back away from one challenge, or it's needlessly given away in midfield by Atletico, and Dragusin fires it down the right-hand side. Romero finds Sarr, stumbles a little bit but still keeps the ball away from Llorente, tucks it out to the right-hand side, and Pedro Porro again. Archie Gray, who's been excellent this season in amongst all the trials and tribulations.
I'm a big fan of Archie Gray, Dan. And I think it's been a difficult season for Spurs, difficult season for him. Do you know what, though? I think all he'll do is get stronger, because I think if you can play in this team when it's struggled as well as he has, it bodes well for the future.
Simons trying to flick the ball into the area for the run of Tell. Comes out to Jed Spence. Now Tell's got it. Edge of the area, might have room to shoot. Gets the shot away, but it's a comfortable save low down to his left by Musso. But that's an effort on target for Tottenham Hotspur. 0-0, 9 minutes gone on Talksport.
Well, the first 9 minutes has been a good 9 minutes for Tottenham. I think they're playing with confidence. They don't look like they're lacking confidence. Let's put it that way. And this is a good Atletico side. They're pressing, they're winning the ball high up the pitch, and they're passing the ball well. There's a lot of accuracy and technical gifted play going on for Tottenham.
0-0. Alvin Martin alongside me, Ian Danta here in North London. Llorente and Cardoso, the 2 central midfielders for Atletico, combine. Ruggieri, the left back, tucks it back to the keeper Musso. And he passes calmly out to Lenormand, who will try and clear it downfield, but it was blocked straight out of play by Matis Tel. And you certainly can't argue that the Spurs fans have come here to encourage their team, even if there are one or two empty seats in the top tier of the north and east stands, and indeed at the top of the south stands, one or two empty seats. And the referee has decided that Molina was taking too long over taking the throw in, and he's threatened to book him or give the throw the other way. So Molina gets on with it and throws it straight to Pap Sarr. Spence tries to flick it out to Simons on the left. Griezmann picks it up, pirouettes but runs into trouble. Gray wins it back and finds Porro. Porro lobs it downfield. Kolo Muani's after it. Tries to volley it goalwards at the edge of the area, and the flag goes up belatedly against Brando Kolo Muani, who was offside as that ball was lobbed over the top to try and get him away. 0-0.
Well, I think it's the right run to make. You know, I think he's got to stretch this back line as far as he can more, and he's got the pace, and once they drop off, then he can start looking at getting the ball to feet. But I don't know what he was trying to do with that. He was never on to volley.
Remember, no Richarlison for Spurs tonight, suspended. Solanke picked up a knock towards the end of the game against Liverpool, so neither of those strikers are available. So it really is Kolo Muani on whom Igor Tudor is relying most for goals tonight. Here come Atletico with Simeone looking to release Llorente to the byline inside the area, forcing Spence to toe-end it behind for Atletico's first corner of the game at the south stand to our right. 0-0 with 11 gone.
What a lovely weighted ball that was by Simeone. You know, just played it behind the last defender there, and Llorente will probably feel he should have done better with it, but this is where they really click in. Around the final third, they've just got an extra gear, and they've got a real good understanding as a team.
Well, Julian Alvarez making his 100th appearance for Atletico tonight, taking the corners. And he'll take a right-footed outswinger into the near post. It's headed out to Llorente, who drove it goalwards, and it was blocked well by Xavi Simons, who's herring after the loose ball. But back into his own half goes Molina, the right-back, and will retrieve it for the visitors. Gives it back to the goalkeeper Musso. And now the long-haired Llorente will give it back to his goalkeeper. Played then in La Liga on Saturday for the first time since November, Juan Musso, and he played once in the Champions League back in November against Inter Milan. But he's no mug, I would say. Good work from Archie Gray, good tenacious midfield work to win the ball back.
You know, he's a really good footballer, but he puts his foot in, he covers the ground. You know, he can play defensive midfield, always wants the ball. He's on it now, and very intelligent player. I really like him.
He's played everywhere, isn't he? Yeah. Apart from in goal.
Look, that's his best position where he is tonight.
What, in goal? I see what you mean. No, where he is tonight. It's only a matter of time. Here is Xavi Simons on halfway for Tottenham, lays it off to Gray. Passes back to Romero. Van der Ven strokes it out to this near touchline, right in front of where Igor Tudor is stood. Jed Spence collects it. A bit more patient from Spurs at this point. You're listening to Tottenham 0, Atletico Madrid 0 in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. And a long ball attempted by Dragusin downfield goes straight out of play for a throw-in to the Spaniards. Last team to come back from 3 or more goals down in the UEFA Champions League knockout tie was...
Tell me.
Liverpool.
Right.
Against Barcelona in that famous night in 2018-19 season.
I've seen them make a good comeback in Istanbul as well, Liverpool.
That is still very much 0-0 at Anfield, as it is everywhere else in the Champions League. Earlier tonight, Barcelona walloped Newcastle 7-2, and Barcelona await the winners of this tie in the last 8. Llorente into the area, onside, flag stays down, gets to the dead ball line looking for an option, across the face of goal. It wouldn't find its way through to Lookman because of a vital clearance from Christian Romero. 0-0.
Well, they just had enough people back in there, but they cut through them again, didn't they? They haven't had the ball in the final third very often, but when they have had it there, Atletico, they look like they've got a real cutting edge.
Here is Llorente again, bursting in from the right-hand touchline, plays it into the box, goes down, wants a free kick. Referee says no. Southampton lead Norwich in the Championship. Finn Azaz gets the goal for Southampton, who will go into the top 6 if they get the 3 points tonight above Wrexham, who lost yesterday. Oh, brilliantly brought down by Matty's Tell for Spurs. Left-hand corner of the penalty area. Two players round him. He's won a corner. Good work from Matty's Tell. More encouragement for the home supporters. 0-0 though.
Well, they don't look like a team that are lacking confidence. That's I mean that as a compliment really here for Spurs. First 15 minutes, I think they've done well. I think the warning signs have been there though. When Atletico have got the ball round the final third, there's a bit more guile, certainly more technical ability in terms of knowing what's required.
Yeah.
So there's certainly a warning shot or two being fired. But look, it's been a good first 15 for them.
Can they make it count though? Can they get their noses in front? Tell's going to take the corner down to our left at the north stand end. Again, loads of players of both teams inside the 6-yard box. In it comes, punched away, two-fisted by Musso. Comes out to Simons, gives it back to Tell, tosses it straight back into the area. Musso punches again, less convincingly this time. Dragusin will retrieve on the right wing, tries to turn and fire a cross in, and he's won a corner, has he? Somehow that was kept in by Ruggieri on the dead ball line, but Spurs do have the ball back with Archie Gray. Porro immediately hits a diagonal into the edge of the area, looking for Romero. Only headed half clear by Molina. Tell has it again. This is good pressure from Tottenham Hotspur.
Romero stayed up there as well.
He has. And here is Papsar, laying it off to Gray in the centre of the Atletico half. Just to his right, picking it up now is Dragusin. But he's forced to go back towards Gray near the halfway line. And he in turn finds Jed Spence. Out to this near side and Simons. Sarr turns it neatly around the corner back for Archie Gray. Square ball for Dragusin. Still on the halfway line here, Tottenham. 16 and a half minutes gone on Talksport 2. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Atletico Madrid 0. So still 5-2 to Atletico from the first leg. Telwyn to throw in off Llorente, midway point of the Atletico half, and takes a ball off one of the cones from the multi-ball system, and it's straight back in play. Archie Gray finds Papsar driving forward in the inside left channel, out to the left wing, and Tell level with the 18-yard line. He's got Simeone and Llorente watching, and Tell holds onto the ball, gives it back to Spence. Spence thought about putting a diagonal ball into the box, but instead fires it back into the centre of the half for Romero. Now Dragusin lays it out wide to Pedro Porro on the Spurs right. Very patient build-up again from Tottenham. Gray's made a underlapping run, picks it up now, right-hand corner of the area. Simons gets a drive away. It's blocked, I think, by his own player, Kolo Muani. And then Spence is penalised for nudging Griezmann over. And Atletico get themselves a free kick. 0-0.
Well, good little spell again, possession. Haven't really had a clear-cut chance in terms of cutting open the back line of Atletico, but there's been some good probing football. Spurs' Champions League home record this year has been pretty good. Well, 10 goals scored, none conceded, 4 wins. Do you know, they are going to need a clean sheet tonight, and I was looking at the clean sheets, and they haven't had many. They've had 6 out of 9 in the Champions League. And they play a lot more games in the Premier League, and they've had 6 clean sheets, I think 30 in the Premier League. So their best defensive performances, Dan, have been, no doubt about it, in the Champions League.
And Atletico, by contrast, had just 5 clean sheets in their last 37 Champions League titles, which you wouldn't think necessary for a team coached by Diego Simeone. They kept 47 in their previous 103. So standards at the back have lapsed a little for Atletico in the last couple of years.
Just getting that first goal, if Spurs can get it, if Spurs can get that first goal, the belief that will pound around the whole of the stadium will be calculable.
Well, there was a Spanish Cup tie earlier this season where Atletico were playing Barca and beat them 4-0 in the first leg, but Barca were 3-0 up in the second leg and had them worried. So they've been in positions before where they've been surrendered or threatening to surrender really good positions. Dragusin tries to release Porro down the right-hand side, but that was a 2-iron when he needed a pitching wedge.
I don't think he's got a pitching wedge, not in his bag.
I very much doubt it. I think you're right, Alvin. 19 minutes gone. It's back with Juan Musso. Kolo Muani pressurising him as he passes short along the dead ball line to Lenormand. Played up to Simeone. Deflection works the way of Xavi Simons. Goes down. He was fouled by Molina. German referee gives the free kick and points the finger at Nahuel Molina, the right back, as if to say, one more, son, you're in the book. 0-0.
Yeah, they've had a lot of ball down this side, haven't they? And I think
the Spurs left and the Athletic right. That's where we see most of the action, isn't it? Down this near touchline. A lot of decent
possession, look at they play some good football. I'm sure he'll be coming up to 20 minutes here. Iko Tudor will be absolutely delighted with the first 20 minutes.
Well, it's a free kick, left-hand side for Tottenham. About 8 or 9 yards in from this near touchline, just beyond the midway point of the half. Pedro Porro is the man standing over it. There is going to be a one-man wall, which will be Ademola Lookman, who's just been forced to move back by the German referee, so we can put the old shaving foam down to indicate the 10-yard distance. Ademola Lookman just checking as he stands in front of the shaving foam. It's a bit naughty, but it's just giving Musso an indication of, am I standing in the right place? Loads of Spurs players standing in an offside position as Porro prepares to take the free kick. Now they're moving to onside positions. Whipped in by Porro, headed straight back out of play by Cardoso. Throw in to Tottenham Hotspur, left-hand side, 0-0.
Well, Porro there's got the ball on his right foot. He's a good deliverer of the ball from that sort of situation. There's a lot of movement in there from Spurs players, but it's not worth anything unless the delivery is right, and the delivery was really poor.
So a long throw to come in from Radu Dragusin once again. This time he's on the near side to us, the left, with Spurs attacking the north stand in this first half. 0-0, waiting for the breakthrough, and if Spurs get the breakthrough, I wonder what that might do for their confidence as it's flicked on at the near post, but headed away as far as Dragusin plays it across the area, fired goalwards by Tell, but straight into the grateful arms of Musso. Caught it pretty well, Matisse Tell, but it was straight at the keeper. 0-0.
That could have gone anywhere, Dan. He has struck it well. He got a good contact on it, and all he's doing is trying to put his foot through the ball. You can't really go for any direction. There's just too many people in and around you, but it went straight at the keeper. It's so well, it went straight as a dive. Bit of twinkle toes from Archie Gray to get away from Alvarez. That delighted the crowd. And now Tell, who just had that shot, making tracks down the left-hand side for Spurs, heading for the dead ball line. Two players watching him, manages to smuggle the ball back to Jed Spence. Plays it into the left-hand corner of the area. Difficult for Simons to control, but he did. And now Tell again. He's only got one defender. He's got the better of Simeone. Gets the cross in, but it goes out on the full, does it? Yeah, it went out over the dead ball line before it bounced at the far side of the penalty area. Reaching the midway point of this Champions League encounter. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. No goals on the night between Spurs and Atletico Madrid, so it's still 5-2 on aggregate to the Spaniards. Here's Alvin Martin. We've got Tell playing on this left-hand side here for Tottenham, and he's had a lot of the ball, and it looks like he's got the beating of Molina. There's the right back of Atletico. I mean, now doubling up on him. I think sometimes when he's got two people facing up, just pass the ball. You've done a job by drawing another player out. Try and utilise that advantage you've got someone else on the pitch. So there's a time to obviously to take people on. And there's a time to pass the ball when you've got two people marking you. Well, Simons put pressure on Molina as he tried to clear the ball downfield, and it just went skidding out of play for a goal kick to Atletico. 50 goals have been scored in Atleti's 11 Champions League matches this season, so that's a fair old average, but so far the deadlock is yet to be broken. 1-0 to Southampton against Norwich in the Championship. MK Dons Colchester 0-0, and a poor clearance from the goalkeeper straight out of play for a Spurs throw. He's not happy down there. Simeone is in the technical area. When have you ever seen him look happy? Good point. Now here's Tell trying to get the better of the Norman into the area. He's got to the dead ball line, plays it into the near post, and it's patted behind for a corner by Musso for another Spurs corner. They're starting to turn the screw here, Tottenham Hotspur. Well, certainly looking the most dangerous player they've got, isn't he, Tell? He's got pace to burn, and he's using that. And certainly Norman couldn't get anywhere near him there. Over a 5-yard sort of race, and he's got the ball at his feet. He left him half a yard behind. Just so the angle against him, wasn't it? The angle was against him on the shot. Tell will take the corner. No Spurs players at the near post. They've all gone to the far. One or two outside the box, and the referee looking at the barging and bumping and boring inside that 6-yard box and wants an end to it before the kick can even be taken. Tell will hit this right-footed in swinging from the northwest corner. In it comes, right in front of goal, almost caught by Van der Ven as he ran in, but he just couldn't get the connection. Alvarez will wriggle clear down the left-hand side, played up to halfway, beyond halfway for Griezmann. Just couldn't quite take the ball with him, but he still holds on to it.
Gets it back from Llorente. Griezmann coming infield towards the centre circle. Plays it back into square to David Hanco. Now Ruggieri finds Cardoso just in front of the centre circle. Plenty of space for the right back Molina, midway point of the Spurs half. Atletico attacking the south stand in this first half, away to our right. Lookman up against Dragusin. On the underlap is Ruggieri. Played the ball into the box, but no pace on the cross, and it was easy for Papsar to defend. And Spurs have won. Dragusin quite cute, actually. Waited until I think it was Alvarez was just on top of him, and then hit the ball against him to win a throw.
Well, they certainly had the better of it, haven't they? In the first 25 minutes, you know, they played much more of their football with decent possession in the Atletico half. So they'll be more than delighted with that. But you know, you always feel that there's a sting in the tail with Atletico. They've got real quality up front.
Liverpool are level at home on aggregate against Galatasaray. Dominic Szoboszlai, who I assume is not playing at right back tonight. He must be playing further forward. He is. He's got the goal. Liverpool 1, Galatasaray 0, 1-1 on aggregate. Bayern Munich have just scored as well. Guess who?
Kane?
Yeah, penalty. So they're now
Don't say Kane too loud in this stadium.
No, that's very true. Yeah,
those were the days.
Yeah, 7-1 on aggregate then to Bayern Munich against Atalanta. Wonder how many Atalanta fans have travelled to Munich. Mind you, I shouldn't be so doubtful. Probably quite a few. There were certainly plenty of Newcastle fans that went to Barcelona and they lost 7-2 earlier. You heard that live on Talksport too. The Liverpool game's over on Talksport right now if you want to catch up with that. But here our concentration on Talksport 2 is very firmly on events here in North London. 26 minutes gone. Still Tottenham Hotspur 0, Atletico Madrid 0. But a good account being given by Tottenham's players, carrying on really from where they left off at the end of the Liverpool game, Alvin.
Yeah, I would say so.
Lookman runs into a typically robust challenge from Romero on halfway, and then Ruggieri gets a yellow card for taking out Porro on the right-hand side for Spurs. Did well there, Pedro Porro rolled the defender, drew the challenge, and it was too hefty for the referee's liking. Free kick, yellow card.
Well, if you didn't know what the actual score was in the first leg, you'd think, OK, these are two well-matched teams, Dan, you know, and certainly you'd say that Tottenham are the better team in the first 27 minutes. You know, they've dominated a large proportion of the possession. Just that cutting edge that they've lacked, you know, and you know, maybe the presence up front. You just wonder if, you know, Solanke would have been fit, or Richarlison after the way he played against Liverpool. If he was available tonight, it would have been such a big advantage for them, because with this sort of service and this sort of attitude, you know, centre forward would have certainly got, I would have thought, at least one chance in this first 27 minutes that they played. 0-0. Spence just in front of the centre circle, squares the ball for Sarr, pressurised by Griezmann, plays a short pass into the feet of Porro. Now Spence again. Archie Gray's taken up a position on the left wing, gives it back to Spence. He's been pressurised by Cardoso. Goes back to the goalkeeper Vicario. Safety first for Tottenham. And then Vicario hits a long ball down the centre of the field. Dragusin stayed up. Can't win the header. Lenormand beat him to that. Romero sticking his head in where it hurts. And there's Archie Gray to calm things down once again in the centre circle. I think the other thing about, you know, this first 27, 28 minutes is that, you know, the way that they played, they know they need goals. It's a poor passage in the by Sarr. Yeah. But they need goals. But they also know that if they concede one, it's more or less game over. So it's a very, very difficult scenario for them to play. But I think they've executed the tactics perfectly up to this point. It's Alvin Martin, you can hear alongside me, Ian Danter here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs' next game is on Sunday here against Nottingham Forest, and Forest play tomorrow night against Midtjylland in the second leg of that Europa League tie. That's live on Talksport 2. It's Ito. Here comes a cross. Koulibaly! Spurs have got a lifeline. They've got a goal. Simple ball tossed in for the right-hand side, and rising at the far post was Randal Koulibaly. Can they? Could they? Spurs 1, Atletico 0. They've got one back of the 3 they need. Well, listen to that. The stadium is really alive. It's a great ball in from Porro. It really is, but it's a free header. But doesn't he catch it well? No chance. All he could do was just watch it, Musso. Fabulous header, bottom left-hand corner. Game on.
Well, the atmosphere was great anyway, but the belief that's coursing through Tottenham fans now. But here come Atletico trying to counter straight away with Lookman. Down the left-hand side, gets to the corner of the penalty area. He's got Dragusin backpedaling, gets the ball on his right, but the shot is straight down Vicario's throat. And he makes a comfortable save and bowls it out overarm. And Xavi Simons is on his bike, getting away down the left-hand side, wriggles away from Llorente. Tell, level the edge of the area, hits the ball against Molina, can't prevent the corner. What's going on here?
Wakey. Oh, no, it's incredible what a goal does, though, isn't it? And look, they've deserved that goal as well. That's a lot of questions of Atletico. Just didn't have a cutting edge or a finish. Well, they've got that now, and it really has transformed the stadium.
Matty's Tell to take the latest Tottenham corner at the North Stand end. Lots of players, Romero and Dragusin and Van de Ven, all making their way into the 6-yard box. Once again, it's like Piccadilly Circus in there. Simons and Porro waiting at the edge of the area for any bits and pieces. Ball's not by the quadrant. That's an eagle-eyed ref. He spotted that from 60 yards away.
I always wonder, whether having the ball 2 inches outside makes any difference whatsoever.
Psychologically, maybe. Tell. Oh, terrible corner. Absolutely awful corner. Overhit. Went out on the full without staying in play on the other side from where the corner kick was taken.
Just scored a goal. The crowd are really up for it. Look at that. It's killed the moment, hasn't it? It's killed the moment. You get that in there and you all have a go at it. Who knows what can happen? Just see the replay of that. The great header from Tell. I can't believe.
But he was completely all alone in there, wasn't he? That completely lost Anko and Lenormand.
That will do one of two things. It'll inspire Tottenham into getting after them, or it will actually wake up Atletico, because I think they've more sort of been in third gear. I've just got that feeling that there's another gear there for them.
Yeah. So 1-0 to all the home sides in the 8 o'clock Champions League games. Bayern Munich 1-up and 7-1 up on aggregate. Liverpool 1-up and level on aggregate with Galatasaray over on Talksport. And Tottenham 1-up on the night, 5-3 down on aggregate against Atleti. And here's Tell touching the ball in field. Simons felt it was held back by Cardoso. Referee doesn't agree, and Atleti come away down the left-hand side with Ruggieri. Feeds Ademola Lookman. And the former Everton and Fulham man works it out to the right-hand side eventually. And here is Giuliano Simeone. And there's a foul by Colomouani tracking back against Cardoso.
I think the fact that Moani scored as well, who needs a goal, I think that
it's only his fifth goal, I think, for Tottenham.
But that will lift him, and who knows, from now to the end of the game, what he might be capable of, because you see it, don't you? A striker struggling to hit the back of the net, he gets one and then goes on a real run.
There's another Frenchman out there now who's in charge of this free kick, Antoine Griezmann. 2 spells at Atletico. Remember, he was at Barcelona 2 in between. Approaching 500 appearances across his 2 spells with Atleti since he made his debut 12 years ago. Scored in the first leg against Tottenham. He's in charge of this free kick, midway point of the half. Drills it left-footed, looking for Lookman. Picks it up, left-hand corner of the area. Spence blocks the attempted cross, but Lookman will get it back from Simeone. Won't put the cross in, he'll knock it back to the midway point of the half. Griezmann wants it again. First time ball out to the left wing. Ruggieri has Lookman just ahead of him, picking it up now. Infield it goes. And Alvarez, who's dropped deep, finds Llorente. Darting to the right-hand corner of the area. The cross comes in, and Vicario flaps a little. Spence tries to hook it clear. They made a bit of a Horlicks of that, Tottenham. But Atletico still can't quite get hold of the ball in the end. It works for Tottenham, and they can hook it all the way up into the Atleti half and reset themselves.
Just wondered if they've poked the bear a bit here, because they have livened up, haven't they, Atletico? No doubt about it, since conceding that goal.
They'll get a rocket from their manager at half-time, you can be certain of that. Even if there's still a lot for Tottenham to do, they still need to find 2 goals without reply just to force extra time here tonight. Talksport 2 in the Champions League. Spurs 1 up on the night, 5-3 down still on aggregate. Dragusin. Oh, lovely work, Archie Gray. Smashing twinkle toes on the right-hand touchline. Finds Kolo Muani. Back in field to go. Simon's early ball. Tell's inside the area. Tell blocked by the goalkeeper. Got it on target, but the goalkeeper Musso stuck out a left leg and kept it out. Massive chance for Tottenham. Not taken.
Great play on it again.
Tell now trying to get down the left-hand side. Fell over. No free kick, says the referee. And Simons puts the ball out of play for a throw. But that all started with Archie Gray with some lovely trickery on the far touchline, and they built from there, Alvin Martin.
Well, it was quality football. You know, it was the Champions League quality football, that was. You know, as you said, it started with Archie Gray, and then Simon took it on, dropped the shoulder, and then played a ball that none of us expected to this left-hand side. Tell got it and used that pace. He's been a real threat on this left-hand side. A great shot. Maybe just could have lifted it over the keeper. You've got to give the keeper credit there. He come out and he made a good stop.
Griezmann hops over a challenge from Pap Sartz. Work back for Musso. His clearance is low and flat, but it does reach the halfway line and finds Ademola Lookman. Lookman runs out to the left-hand channel. Keeps possession. Griezmann plays a 1-2 with him. Griezmann out to Ruggieri. Antoine Griezmann again, drifting menacingly infield. Ruggieri thinks about a cross. Griezmann, left-hand corner of the box. I always feel he's got something in him to do something really special, Griezmann.
Oh, absolutely.
Driven into the path of Molina. Simeone calling for it on this near side, near the 18-yard line. Llorente darts down the side of the box ahead of him. Receives it now, knocks it back to Simeone. Just jinks away neatly from Tell. Now Molina, the right back, gets his head up. Back down this near touchline to Llorente. Tucks it infield for Cardoso. Hanko, the centre-half, now takes over. Early bar to Griezmann, who's stationed out on the left wing. Cuts in field. Alvarez at the edge of the box, weaving away, trying to find space. Ruggieri with an early ball in, headed out by Romero. And then driven in, and well, White's actually going to go out for the throw. Not even a goal kick to Spurs in their left-back position. 37 minutes gone on Talksport 2. It's not quite the dream situations for Spurs, but boy, compared to Chelsea last night, it's a whole lot better than it could have been.
No, that's right. I think tactically they've been spot on, Dance. I think they've got themselves in front. They've limited Atletico to very few chances, and they're committing again here forward.
Simmons coming forward for Tottenham, running at them. Tried to clip it again, left for Matisse Tell, but Molina intercepted it that time for Atletico and guided it back to his goalkeeper. You're listening to Tottenham 1, Atletico Madrid 0 in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Van der Ven gets in between Simeone and Griezmann and tidies up, gives it back to his keeper, Guillermo Vicario. Still 1-0 Liverpool, Galatasaray on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. 1-0 here to Tottenham, 1-0 to Bayern Munich, now 7-1 up on Atalanta. And Barcelona won 7-2 tonight against Newcastle. You heard it live on Talksport earlier. 8-3 on aggregate. Lucas Bergvall getting a warm round of applause as the young Swede gets up to warm up. He's been out for some time. I mean, the list of injuries in Tottenham is shocking, isn't it, Alvin? The number of players that have been deprived of Igor Tudor and Thomas Frank before him.
That's why you've got to give credit to this. This performance, he's had to juggle it round. He's obviously he's got a team that's low on confidence. He wants to follow up a result at Liverpool, get a good, decent performance out of them here, and obviously he's got that game, massive game, looming against Nottingham Forest as well. So it's juggling and it's making big decisions here at the moment for Tottenham.
Atletico have possession. It's with Alvarez just inside the Spurs half. Carries the ball downfield. Poor ball in field intended for Griezmann, picked off by Simons, and then Kolo Muani just knocks it down for Sarr, trying to release Tell away down the left-hand side, but it was overhit. One or two Spurs fans a bit annoyed that Tell didn't give chase after that, but Llorente was well ahead of him and comfortably got to the ball first.
He certainly caught the eye, hasn't he, on this left-hand side, Tell? He really has.
Initial loan from Bayern Munich, now permanent. It's his 50th appearance for Tottenham. Matisse Tell. 3 goals this season, the last in January. Lookman being forced back into his own half for Atleti. Ruggieri plays it up to halfway. And then Alvarez gets a nudge in the back from Van der Ven, who got way forward into an inside right position.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the three centre halves, you know, if they did get involved in the build-up, they don't mind getting into advanced areas. You know, obviously playing a back five as you can with the system they've got here. You have got that licence to be, you know, free at times.
MK Dons had just taken the lead against Colchester in the 1 League 2 game tonight. They get that win, MK. They'll go within 2 points again of the leaders, Bromley, who played last night. Southampton still 1-0 up. In fact, that's a half-time score at St Mary's. Southampton 1, Norwich 0. Finn Azaz, Southampton will go into the playoffs if they hold on to that scoreline. And remember, we'll have more Championship football for you Friday and Saturday. Preston Stoke on Friday night to set you up for the weekend. And then on Saturday, we're chock full of the good stuff in terms of the Championship. More on that in a minute, but Jed Spencer's just been told to calm down by the referee for a challenge on Simeone right in front of his dad. That's not going to go down well.
It was that much of a challenge. Yeah, he caught a little bit of the man before the ball. So the referee's got that right. But, you know, they've had a couple of half chances, haven't they? But, you know, to be fair, Atletico have looked pretty average up to this point, and that's all down to Spurs.
You would never surely accuse them of complacency coming into this time thinking the job was already done, based on that Barcelona game I mentioned earlier in the Spanish Cup.
Well, he did say that he was going to look to score the first goal, Simeone, but I don't think he set his team up like that. I think they've just sort of waited, seen what Spurs were going to do, and then have obviously tried to play counter-attack when the opportunity arises. But I don't think they've come here to go onto the front foot straight away.
It's 3.5 minutes to half-time on Talksport 2. Spurs 1, Atletico Madrid 0. Just a reminder of our Championship football of the weekend. I mentioned Preston Stoke on Friday night. On Saturday, we've got 3 games in a row from the Championship on Talksport 2. Ipswich Millwall at 12:30. What a game that is. Sheffield United Wrexham at 3, and the leaders Coventry at Swansea at 5:15. Here come Tottenham with Mattis Tell up to the edge of the area, right for his shot, pushed away by Musso, and Kolo Muani wasn't close enough to get to the follow-up. Suddenly it opened up again for Mattis Tell, but suddenly on the counter-attack, here come Atleti. Alvarez just held up for a moment by Dragusin, only Lookman ahead of him, and now Llorente pushes just ahead of him to the right. Griezmann in the centre of the Spurs half. Lays it off to Molina. Now put in field by Simeone for Griezmann again. And the sweeping pass out to Ruggieri, left-hand side. Cardoso gives it back to Ruggieri. Great chance again there for Tottenham, Alvin Martin.
Yeah, again, it was Tell, wasn't it? You know, he's been a real handful on this left-hand side. He's certainly got half a yard's advantage over the defenders that are around him.
Griezmann getting away right-hand side to the right-hand corner of the box. He's got support from Molina if he wants to use him, but he rolls it back into midfield for Llorente. Llorente almost had the ball taken off his toe by Tell, but Cardoso finds Ruggieri inside left, approaching the penalty area. Infield it goes. Maybe a shot going to come in from Alvarez, and it whistles just wide. Corner given, took a deflection on its way. Vicario wasn't sure whether to dive for it or not, and that can't have been far wide, Alvin.
Well, you know that it's gone over the bar, but it's caught the net as it's on the way down. Ooh. That's how close you know it is down. So that really was nothing. There's nothing he could have done about it. I think it was just hopefulness more than anything.
Just grazed off the thigh of Papson, grazed the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, they deserve that bit of good fortune, though.
So a corner to Atleti away to our right at the south stand then. Less than 90 seconds of normal time remaining in the first half. Can Spurs go in 1 goal up on the night and needing just 2? That will help the half-time team talk. But they've got a difficult corner to defend that Griezmann's about to take. Takes it short to Alvarez, who's come to help him. Alvarez whips the ball in from the right-hand corner, headed away by Gray. Comes out to the edge of the area. Oh, great save, Vicario. Brilliant save to deny Simeone from Vicario, who was almost on his knees as he turned it round the post for a corner.
Great save. That is a fantastic save. Massive deflection. Romero, he's down, and it's looping over him, but somehow he gets that right hand and gets a fabulous contact on the ball to make the save.
Brilliant stop, but it is another corner for Atletico Madrid. Whipped in by Alvarez, headed out by Romero this time. Llorente will collect the loose ball for the visitors. Out to this near side, and Alvarez. Last minute of normal time. plays a square ball across midfield, breaks just in time for Simeone, but then he's intercepted by Christian Romero. It goes to the left-hand side, and now Lenormand making a run down the left-hand side of the box. The centre-half faced up by Van der Ven, down by the corner flag on the far side of the field. And we're into 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time. Here comes Spurs. This would be a great end to the half if they can make something of this attack. Well, Porro played an awful ball forward, but equally poor touch from Ruggieri, putting it straight out for a throw-in.
Yeah, it might be a chance here. It might be a chance just for one more half chance. Do they keep it or do they get it? Tell's got the ball and he's been lively all night, isn't he?
It's plenty back in Atletico blue, but here's Jed Spence, level with the 18-yard line, left-hand side of the box. Tell in support, goes for the dead ball line. The cross is poor, straight into the chest of Musso, who collects it just inside his 6-yard box. Just needed more pace on that cross, and Tell couldn't supply it.
But again, he's got the other side. You know, he's got himself in a position where he can get the cross in, Dan Sheeran. I think that's really encouraging. You know, I think the Tottenham manager will certainly be looking at it and saying, you know, can we get the ball to him in this second half? And if they do, you know, there's a supply, whether he scores himself or gets to the side, makes a cutback. It certainly looked like a very good bet, you know, in terms of what they can get out of that.
So we're into those 2 minutes of added time. Here's Spence getting away down this left-hand side for Tottenham. Simeone put himself between man and ball, got a nudge, went to ground, free kick.
See, even the little things now, Dan, you know, Littell had the ball on the halfway line, he's a little back heel, you know, a little, and it come off, and that shows you that the confidence is there. You don't do things like that when you're lacking confidence. So, you know, he's feeling better about himself all the time now.
Spurs 1, Atleti 0. We're in added time at the end of the first half. Lookman for the visitors finds Cardoso, just keeps it away from Kolo Muani, and it's stroked out to Simeone right on the halfway line in front of the two managers. Here's Llorente, spins away from Pap Sarr into the centre of the Spurs half, squares it left for Ruggieri, first time pass for Lookman, left hand corner of the box, Griezmann in support, just chips it across the face of goal. Van der Ven and Spence getting a bit of a muddle. It's gone behind for another Athletic corner right at the end of the half. 1-0 Spurs.
Whenever he gets the ball, Griezmann on the edge of the box, anywhere in the semi-dangerous area, you can see the rest of the players all move because they know he's got the ability to see them, and that was a great little ball he put in there, little dink.
Oh, it's a genius, isn't he? There was an absolute dead rubber in the Russia World Cup when France were playing Denmark. It didn't seem to matter. The only player that was trying a leg out there was Griezmann.
Yeah.
Here comes the corner from Alvarez, flapped away by Vicario, nodded back to the edge of the area. Simeone again trying his luck, but this time his right-footed effort is well wide. I think the referee has he said that's enough? He wants the ball off the keeper, does he, Vicario? What's he doing? He's walked across to where Vicario is. The 2 minutes are up, so indeed he has blown for half-time. And Tottenham fans just realising that the whistle's gone for the break, and there's warm applause around this stadium. Igor Tudor has not won a game of football since coming here, and even if the score stays like this, they'll go out of the Champions League, but it will be a win and it will mean so much. And they played well in this first half, Tottenham Hotspur, and they're just having a little meeting, the players, between themselves before they go down the tunnel. But they've been helped by Randal Kolo Muani. A rare goal from him, lovely header, cross in from the right-hand side. He was in between the two centre-halves. Vicarias had to make a couple of excellent saves, in truth, to keep Spurs in front. But there's more than enough encouragement from that first 45 minutes to suggest that even possibly the chance might be that Spurs could really get Atletico nervous in the second period. 1-0 at half-time. Alvin Martin.
Well, I think it's obviously it's a mountain to climb here prior to the game. You think, OK, can they keep a clean sheet? Have they got goals in them? You know, they've got a lot of injuries. Their striking options are really limited. But at half-time, 1-0 up, you think, wow, you know, that's it, everything that he could have wished for. The manager. I think the fans have come here, they've responded at half-time. You can see the reception that the players got. It's unusual to see that. They all stayed out, all of the Tottenham players, and had a conflab in the middle of the pitch, and then walked off. And as they walked off, they got really warm applause from the supporters here. So, yeah, first half, I think they've accomplished a lot there. They've got themselves in front, they've got the crowd on side, kept them on side. they've got to be able to take up where they left off now in the second half.
Archie Gray's been terrific.
Magnificent, yeah.
And actually, what interests me as well with Spurs, there's a lot of fluidity about. We saw occasions where Van der Ven, not from a set piece, was getting into the inside right channel, coming forward for Tottenham. Tell's been incredibly lively down the left, aided and abetted by Jed Spence. There's been plenty to recommend in terms of individual performance in that first half too.
Absolutely, and looking at some of the football that they played, I think as the half wore on, I think the effort was there in the first 15 minutes, and they really did take the game to Atletico. But you could see, after about 20 minutes, and certainly after they got the goal, some of the fluent football, that you associate with Spurs was starting to show itself. Confidence was returning, fluent throughout the team. They really have been pretty strong defensively. You expect Atletico to really have, created more than what they have. When they have created with the ricochet, a really good save, wasn't it? From Rosario. Yeah. So from that point of view, the defences look solid. Keeper looks really good, and I think the forward play, some of the interchanging and passing has been really clever. I do think, like I said, in Tell, they've got somebody that when he's got the ball at his feet, he's going to get the other side of his man. Can he come up with a cross? Can he come up with the finished product and get somebody on the end of it?
Well, if they get the second goal here and make it 2-0 and get back within one of Atletico, this place will go off. Place will pop.
But it will start to certainly make the opposition nervous as well. It's a twofold thing, because that will ignite the stadium, and certainly then, I think Atletico will start thinking, this isn't what we planned, So, no, that second goal is going to be vital. They've got the first one, that was always going to be an important goal dance. Now it's all about the second, innit? They've got to get the second.
Alvin, thanks for the time being. Alvin Martin with me, Ian Danton. We will bring you that second half uninterrupted here on Talksport 2 next. We'll also hear from the aftermath of Barcelona's thrashing of Newcastle in the half-time break. But the score here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is Tottenham Hotspur 1, Atletico Madrid 0. That means Atleti still lead 5-3 on aggregate here on Talksport 2.
Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
With over 50 years' experience, at Fidelity, we believe there's a difference between investing and being invested. Investing is having access to guidance, tools, and expert insights. Being invested means feeling confident about your future. Investing is choosing from a wealth of investment options. Being invested means focusing on your long-term goals. For ISAs, pensions, or advice, be truly invested with Fidelity. Go to fidelity.co.uk. Your capital is at risk. Terms apply.
Irrational is a printer that's next to your laptop, but somehow offline. Smart is a printer with self-healing Wi-Fi that helps keep you connected. Stressful is your printer choosing check-in day to check out of ink. Smart is an HP Smart Tank with 3 years of cartridge-free ink. Oh, that's smart. So go on, search HP Smart Tank. Find the last printer you'll ever need.
Can you hear that? That's your next adventure calling, and it's ready to book at Break Free Holidays. With deposits from just £10 per booking, it's never been easier. We bring all your favourite holiday hotspots into one place. Grab exclusive deals on UK and European holiday parks. Go on, break free at breakfreeholidays.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply.
We all love a good meal, but there's no feeling quite like cooking one. Whether it's everyone at yours for a Sunday roast or after-school sausage and mash. Quick, simple, gone in minutes. One thing brings it all together. Ah, Bisto. The original gravy. Rich, smooth, and unmistakable since 1908. When the gravy makes the dish, make the gravy. Ah, Bisto.
With LV, I can get my car insurance from just £299. Just the price I'm after right now. And if I'm hit by an uninsured driver, I won't lose my no-claim discount, because insurance is simple when it's me and LV. No wonder we're rated excellent on Trustpilot. Get your quote today at lv.com. 10% of new customers paid £299 or less July to December 2025. Uninsured driver promise is non-fault accident only. Other vehicle and driver details required. LV General Insurance is part of Allianz.
Meet iPhone 17e, a whole lot for a lot less, with an almighty all-powerful A19 chip and Ceramic Shield 2 built to survive this, and a 48-megapixel fusion camera with 2 times optical quality zoom and next-gen portraits, and double the starting storage of iPhone 16e, and long-lasting battery life for hours and hours of streaming. And you can charge it with USB-C or with MagSafe accessories, and a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e today. Ceramic Shield 2 on front display, battery life varies by use, accessories sold separately, price compared to iPhone 17 at apple.com/UK.
Ultimate Sports Radio.
What a moment! This is Talksport 2. It's a fully saturated Saturday of superior game day football on a Talksport network from 5:15. Swansea face high-flying Coventry City in the Championship on Talksport 2 with Leeds versus Brentford from 8 on Talksport. It's a max strength Saturday night of game day football on the Talksport network. So don't be late.
It's time to travel through the Stargate to the live football universe. Game day.
What a bit of skill!
Live football as intense as we can legally broadcast it.
Can you believe it?
Game day. It's big ticket live Premier League football you can't afford to miss.
Game day.
What a strike!
Exclusive full match commentary of
Brighton versus Liverpool.
100% total football each and every weekend.
Game day exclusive. This Saturday on Talksport.
Kick-off. King of football commentary. Kick-off live on Talksport 2.
Here comes a cross. Koulibaly! Spurs have got a lifeline. They've got a goal. Simple ball. Tossed in for the right-hand side. And rising at the far post was Randall Koulibaly. Can they? Could they?
Fabulous headed, bottom left-hand corner. Game on.
Oh, lovely work, Archie Gray. Smashing twinkle toes on the right-hand touchline. Finds Koulibaly. Back in field to go. Simon's early ball. Tell's inside the area. Tell blocked by the goalkeeper. Got it on target, but the goalkeeper Musso stuck out a left leg and kept it out. Massive chance for Tottenham. Not taken. Headed away by Gray. Comes out to the edge of the area. Oh, great save, Vicario. Brilliant save to deny Simeone from Vicario, who was almost on his knees. Spurs 1, Atletico 0. They've got one back of the 3 they need. It's a lot of fun, this game so far, I have to tell you. Here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Talksport 2, Ian Danta and Alvin Martin with you. Half-time, Spurs 1, Atletico Madrid 0. A reminder that Spurs still need 2 more goals without reply just to force an extra 30 minutes. And they are, as it stands, going to be heading for an extra 30 minutes over on Talksport at Anfield, where Liverpool had the half-time lead by 1-0 over Galatasaray, so that's 1-1 on aggregate. But Mo Salah missed a penalty for Liverpool in added time in the first half. So that's 1-0 at Anfield as it's 1-0 here. It's also 1-0 the Allianz Arena, where Bayern Munich are now 7-1 up on aggregate against the Italians, Atalanta. In the Championship, they're about 10 minutes into the second half of St Mary's. Still Southampton 1, Norwich 0. A scoreline that would take Southampton into the top 6 ahead of the weekend's Championship fixtures. And half-time at Stadium MK Dons 1-0 up against Colchester. Well, earlier tonight, we brought you on Talksport 2 Newcastle's trip to the Camp Nou to face Barcelona in their second leg tie. And the game was poised, nicely poised, at 1 apiece going into it. It's fair to say it was goals galore in Spain. And in the end, a bit of a nightmare of a night for Eddie Howe and the Toon Army. Joe Shedden and Dean Ashton were your Talksport 2 commentary team.
Fermin Lopez, Rafinha with the chance, and he scored! Barcelona take the lead. Early ball across, Anthony Elanga, he's clear, Elanga! Newcastle level! Dinks it high to the penalty area, free-headed down, and turned in by Mark Bernal! Where were Newcastle defensively there? Notching it on to Barnes, angle is tight, Barnes across goal, and Elanga's there again! It's 2-2!
Another response by Newcastle.
Yamal, short runner. Here he goes, left-footed, and he beats Ramsdale, who went the right way but couldn't keep it out. Fermin Lopez is clear. Fermin Lopez against Ramsdale, and he scores. Barcelona now have a 2-goal advantage on aggregate.
You can't defend like that in the Champions League. You simply can't.
Is it falling apart here for Newcastle? Corner from Rafinha. Lewandowski heads it in. It's all over now. Lewandowski lurking, so predatory at the back post. Early ball through the middle. Lewandowski is clear again here. It's 6. Lewandowski
down the tunnel.
Oh, given away by Jacob Ramsey. Rafinha's clear. A magnificent 7 for Barcelona.
So Barcelona are the opponents lying in wait for whoever comes through this tie that Alvin and myself are watching here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. On the flip side of that, that's Newcastle's European adventures over for the season. Alvin, they've got the Tyne-Wear derby to think about Sunday lunchtime, and then I guess trying to get a European spot for next season somehow. What do you think about Eddie Howe's situation? I can't imagine he'd be under any pressure from the Newcastle fans. No. Seems to be the pressure comes from more us lot in the media than it comes from the Geordie faithful.
Yeah, look, I think that I think Eddie Howe and Newcastle are a decent fit. Dan. So I think he's somebody that wants to play the game in an attacking way, not foolhardy, but he wants to take risks. And I think to do that, I think you need individuals. You need people that can. I think when Klopp did it at Liverpool, I think he changed their mentality, and he used to go head to head with Man City. That risk taking, but it's getting the balance right between wanting to play at the back, build up. But if you're getting nicked off you and you're giving goals away and you're looking like flimsy in doing it, you've either got to be better at it or play more direct. But I think Eddie Howe's got a set way of playing. He never wavers from it, and I think it suits Newcastle as a club.
Well, this game that we're watching, brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. We'll have Europa League football for you tomorrow. Nottingham Forest, 1-goal deficit as they travel to play Midtjylland. That's here on Talksport 2 from 5:45, and then at 8 o'clock we'll find out if Aston Villa can book their place in the quarters. They're up against Lille with an advantage over the French side from the first leg as they head back to Villa Park. That's 8 o'clock from the round of 16. Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend will be your commentary team at Villa Park. And then on Friday night, as well as Preston Stoke that I mentioned in the Championship here on Talksport 2 at 8 o'clock, a Premier League exclusive for you, Bournemouth against Manchester United from the Vitality, and Sam and Alan Pardew will be your commentary team from the South Coast. Both sets of players are back out. No changes made by either Igor Tudor or Diego Simeone. So Spurs in their white strip with the dark blue epaulets on the shoulders. They're going to be attacking the south stand as they like to do in the second half of games. They have Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Dragusin, Van der Ven and Spence at the back. Simons, Sarr, Gray and Tell across midfield. Kolo Muani, the goal scorer in attack. Atletico Madrid in their change strip of a lighter blue with flecks of red and white in there. They have Musso in goal as they get the second half underway. Atletico, Molina, Lenormand, Hanko and Ruggieri in the back four. Simeone, Llorente, Cardoso and Lookman across midfield. Griezmann and Alvarez the front two. And neat little flick from Matisse Tell trying to get Spence away down the left hand side. It's been given us a Spurs throw. It came off a Atleti player last of all, and the one thing they'll be desperate to do, Alvin, is keep the impetus that they had towards the end of the first half.
Sometimes it's not easy as well, that dance. You approach half time, the crowd are up for it, and then the second half you're not able to sort of just pick it up where you left it off. I'd like to think they can do, but look, there's no doubt about it. This Spurs side, we spoke to a couple of Spurs supporters at half time. They said it's the best they've played for a long time. So it's certainly a massive improvement on what's been happening.
Paul Stead out of play under pressure by Hanko for a Spurs throw, level with the 18-yard line on this near side, the right. And the crowd are going to be important, just to give them that early encouragement and get behind them and give these players the belief that they need. Dragison's going to hurl another long throw in. The man with the top knot hairstyle, rubbing the ball on his jersey, getting it as dry as he can before he hurls it in. Gray's gone near post, goes beyond him, headed across the area by Ruggieri, drops to the far post, it's touchdown for Tell, and then Simons at the edge of the area, can't get the shot away. He was pushed as he tried to get the shot away, or at least he thought so, but the referee said play on. Now there's a potential break on for Atleti. It's Lookman making strides downfield. Dragison is getting to him, squares it across, Alvarez turns, shoots, scores! Julian Alvarez levels the tie on the night. And that may be Spurs' hearts broken after all the encouragement that the first half brought the home fans. Suddenly a quick break. Lookman breaking downfield, squared it across to Alvarez, and a brilliant finish into the top corner past Vicario. Xavi Simons is still down hurt from the challenge where he thought he should have had a free kick. But we played on, and that continuation of play saw the equaliser from Julian Alvarez. It's 1-1.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It looked like they'd taken far too long over that, didn't they, Atletico? But he had a great touch, had another touch, and then set it up and then fired it into the top left-hand corner. I wonder if they'll look back to the initial play, which was where Simons went down. I think it was a foul on him. The game is allowed to go on. I don't know if they're going to review that or not, but certainly that's a question mark about this goal for me.
Well, they are looking at it, checking for potential foul by an attacking player leading up to goal. So the Germans in the VAR hub, Bastian Dankert and Søren Storks, are having a look. Check over. And it will be a goal that stands.
I think there's a case there for that being a foul. It was midway in Atletico's half. It wasn't given, allowed to play on, and they broke. They had numbers forward, and that's played a big part in the fact that I think some of the Spurs players maybe not stopped, but wondered if it was going to be given. That hesitation allowed a little bit more space for Atletico.
So we're back to as we were at the very start of the night. Spurs need 3 goals without reply. When they beat Atletico Madrid in the 1963 Cup Winners' Cup final, they won 5-1. That'll do.
There's some names in there, wasn't there? Greaves got 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What team that
was? In the Danny Blanchflower era. Bill Nicholson.
Dave Mackay?
Yes. So all the beef that he brought to Tottenham Hotspur. Got long throw, Spurs from the left-hand side. Dragison again to hurl it into the box. Headed up and out by Simeone. Back to Dragison, who heads it back into the penalty area. Brought down by Romero. Trying to engineer an overhead kick, but it doesn't work for him. Atleti get it clear. Simeone knocks it down for Ruggieri. Chips it over halfway. But Simons to let it run out of play. Keeps it away from Alvarez. So 1-1 here with 4 minutes gone, and it's the Atleti fans who are jumping in that northeast corner now because they know they've got that 3-goal cushion back, Alvin Martin.
That's fair numbers they've got down there, isn't it? Fair numbers.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Paris Saint-Germain fans weren't in quite such huge numbers at Chelsea last night, but boy oh boy did they make a racket. That's some bloke there with a whistle in that far end, and it was, you didn't know which was the referee, which was the guy in the crowd.
The goal really is a bit unfortunate because they had a chance actually, Dan. The ball was breaking down, it bouncing around in the penalty area. It broke to the edge, and that's when the foul on Simons wasn't given. It could have very, very well been given.
But here they come again. Jed Spence down the Spurs left-hand corner of the area. Cross is deflected into the path of the goalkeeper, and there's claims that there was a handball as Spence played it in with the outside of his boot, but the referee says play on, and I don't think VAR is going to take a check.
Very important that the Spurs fans, the Spurs players now, sort of keep going. It's very important they don't think, okay, well, there's no chance of us getting through now. It's still about the performance.
Good skill from Pedro Porro. Then has the ball taken off his toe by Cardoso. He wanted a free kick, not given. Ben, ball's bouncing around the Atleti half of the field. Lookman turns away, gives it to Ruggieri. Back for Hanko. And the Spurs fans voicing their disappointment about the decisions not going their way. Ball in field, Gray there quickly ahead of Cardoso. Simons gives it back to Archie Gray. Xavi Simons again into the area. Brilliant goal! Oh, Xavi Simons, I've got to applaud that myself. That was brilliantly done by Simons and Archie Gray. And Simons curled it from the edge of the box. It's back to a 2-goal deficit again. Spurs 2, Atleti 1.
And once again, Archie Gray started off. Unbelievable skill, really tight, technical ability. Halfway in there off, he shifts the ball twice, gives it to Simons, but then there was a lot to be done. He had to find a really neat finish with power. Beautiful execution. 2-1. They really are playing some very good football, Spurs.
And the celebration from Xavi Simons indicates to me that he doesn't think this tie is beyond Tottenham. So, 2-1 on the night, 6-4 on aggregate. Ball's back with Vicario. Short pass outside this area to Sarr. Fires it out to Dragusin on this near side of the Spurs right. Hits it against Lookman. He's got to go and retrieve it, Dragusin. Dangerous for him. Takes it down to the corner flag. And he couldn't keep it in play. It's a throw in to Atletico Madrid, down by the corner flag at the north stand end of the ground. Well, Xavi Simons, his third goal for Tottenham, and a more precious one he couldn't have wished for at this point in proceedings. Ball's back in the centre circle with Robin Lenormand, one of the Atleti centre halves. Good pressing from Tottenham, and Gray's there again on halfway, but just couldn't control the ball, and instead away come the visitors with Alvarez finding Lookman down the left hand side of the penalty area. Alvarez again looks for Llorente with his back to play, guards it back to the right back Molina. Now Simeone looking for Llorente again across the face of goal, and that's a very important toe end in from Romero. That wasn't classed as a pass back as Vicario plunged on it, because Lookman was right behind Christian Romero if he'd missed that.
It doesn't get any more uncomfortable than that. You don't know what's behind you. The ball's being fizzed across. You're facing your own goal, 2 yards out. You've got to get a touch on it. You just hope you don't score. He got lucky. Let's just say he got lucky.
That's the voice of West Ham and England centre half Alvin Martin alongside me, Ian Danta. I was only watching you the other day, actually. Somehow on my feed came up highlights of the game against Paraguay in Mexico '86.
Yeah. Happy days.
Well, it wasn't when you didn't keep your place for the next game. But that's another story. Here's Pedro Porro. Spurs coming forward again. 3 to aim at in the area. Crosses headed away. Griezmann trying to pick up the seconds, and does well, actually. Keeps it away from Simons. Guides it down for Lookman. It's a good break again for Tottenham, but the cross from Porro couldn't find a target.
Well, I think you can see that there are players here that have been struggling individually and collectively for a long time now, and the real signs that they are starting to come out of that spell.
Liverpool 2, Galatasaray 0. Hugo Ekitike, Alvin, gets the second goal for Liverpool, so they're now 2-1 up against the Turkish champions.
Massive game for them tonight, wasn't it? The real precious lot.
And remember, Salah missed a penalty right on half-time, but Ekitike has put Liverpool 2-1 up on aggregate. That's live on Talksport right now. Here on Talksport 2, we played 10 minutes of the second half. Oh, and Lookman could be in trouble. It's a yellow card for pushing Dragusin in the chest. He's having to be held back.
He got the yellow out really quickly. I thought for a moment he might have been looking at sending him off, because he made a meal of it, didn't he, Dragusin?
Certainly did, but referee keeping his yellow card in his top pocket, and you wonder, because referees are different, aren't they? Some keep their red card in their top pocket and whatnot, and there's cries of off, off, off. Well, it's only a yellow card that's been issued to the former Charlton graduate, having pushed Dragusin in the chest. Dragusin's just sat on his backside, trying to look like he's winded. Liverpool are 3-0 up now. That's tie over. Ryan Gravenberch has made it 3-0 on the night, 3-1 on aggregate. So there are going to be a couple of English sides in the last 8, Liverpool and Arsenal. Could Tottenham make it 3?
You'd like to think that, you know, the Liverpool team really is so capable of winning the outright, you know, competition. They are that good, but the consistency that they've lacked all season keeps showing its head, doesn't it? But you know, when they're on form, they're a match for anyone, and it's a weird thing, isn't it? You know, it hasn't worked out for them in the league, but there's no reason why they can't beat the very best, and especially when you start classing Liverpool as underdogs going in to any of these remaining games.
Christian Romero's talked himself into a yellow card. He's too much back chat to the referee because he felt it should have been more than a yellow card for Lookman. He'd given the yellow. That's really silly from the captain to keep on badgering the referee when the decision's been made, and he's got himself a yellow card.
Yeah, he's got 35 minutes to go now as well. You know, one of them foul, and you can get a yellow card for next to nothing in these days game, can't you? But I don't get it really. He's got nothing to gain from it. The referee's given a decision. He's old enough to know better, isn't he?
And he's the skipper of the side. Lead the side. Lead by example. Cardoso's gone down now after an aerial challenge, but the referee played on for a bit and then stops. So now Cardoso, the American midfielder, is down wanting treatment for Atletico Madrid. 57 minutes gone. It's getting a bit feisty here at the stadium now. Tottenham 2-1 up on the night, but 6-4 down on aggregate.
Well, I think Tottenham supporters have come into this game not really knowing what to expect, Dance. You know, they had a decent performance up at Anfield, and you know, this was a difficult game. You know, the way it was set up, a very difficult game.
Yellow card for Dragusin, by the way, but he's after that challenge.
I think, you know,
so that's 2 Spurs centre-halves with yellow cards in the space of 60 seconds.
Looking at the manager, he was skating on thin ice, wasn't he? You know, even coming into this game after the weekend at Liverpool, was it just a one-off? But I think you can see there's been an upturn in this team. Excuse me, an upturn in this team, and I think, you know, he'll carry a little bit of merit going into the next game as well. And what a next game!
Nottingham Forest here on Sunday afternoon. We'll keep you in touch with that right here on Talksport, and we'll also bring you the Carabao Cup final at 4:30 at Wembley. Arsenal and Manchester City doing battle for the first silverware of the season. 2-1 here. Tottenham back in possession, and there's a Cardoso's gone down again, but the referee says that's no foul. Simon's trying to burst between 2 players. He goes down. No foul given. Referee's trying to let things go. Romero sticks a foot in. Good touch from Porro in field. Cullumani lets it run. Porro's inside the area. Great save, Musso. Oh, that's a magnificent stop. Goes behind for a corner kick. Porro tried to finish with the outside of his right boot. Fantastic save.
Right behind it. What great play. Simmons again, I think, just played the ball in. Fabulous play by them. Once he got in, the angle was against him. We were right behind it. He couldn't have hit that any better with his right foot there, Porro. Great save. Fingertips.
But it is a corner to be taken by Tell at the south stand end, over on the far side of the field from us. Right-footed in swinger. Again, a crowded 6-yard area for him to strike the ball into. In it comes to the far post. Romero heads it back across the facing goal. Dragusin heads it straight at the keeper. Straight at the keeper. More regulation save this time for Musso, but he had to make it.
Well, he had to win it there, Dragusin. He had to win it, and once he won it, it could have gone anywhere. He's so close to the goal, but it goes straight at the keeper.
And now we're gone on Talksport 2. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Atletico Madrid 1 on the night. 6-4 on aggregate, still to the Spanish side. But Tottenham are asking questions again. Alvarez, meantime, fires the ball forward to Lookman. Griezmann's ghosting his way into the centre. Lookman finds Ruggieri on the overlap. Shot is blocked by Vicario. Straight at him, and he had to deal with it, and he dealt with it well. But the offside flag's gone up against the Italian anyway. And so it's a free kick to Tottenham inside their 18-yard box.
Over half an hour to go. There's a lot more that can happen in this game. If they got another Spurs, Whoa!
And they were so close to getting it through Porro. Lovely turn by Tell, having a very good game. Equally so is Archie Gray. Finds Porro, turns away from Lookman and fires it down to Dragusin just inside his own half. Bayern Munich 3-0 up on Atalanta. Here's Archie Gray, infield to Porro, who just brought the very, very best out of Juan Musso in the Atleti goal. Come on, you Spurs, is the chant. Romero spots Simons in acres of space over on the left-hand side. Simons drifts in field, gives it to Pap Sarr. Sarr's going to go for goal. Hits the defender inside the box. Comes out to Porro. Punched away for a corner kick, is it? By Musso. Yeah, it's a corner kick at the south stand end. Spurs turning the screw again.
The Atletico are hanging on here. They're hanging on. The atmosphere is fantastic in here. It's helping the Spurs. I'll tell you what, the Spurs players haven't had this for a long time, where the fans are totally with them. They're gesturing over to the fans are responding, and it's creating a real whirlwind of an atmosphere here.
He just had to delay the corner, because I think Simeone felt the after effects of the shot that Sarr hit him from the edge of the area. So it's the corner to come in from Tell to the far post. It's just over the head of Sarr. Tried to head it back across the face of goal, but it skimmed off the top of his head and behind for a goal kick to Atletico Madrid. 2-1 to Spurs. 62 minutes gone on Talksport 2. And Madrid are making a couple of changes. They're going to bring on Alexander Sorloth, who had a short spell at Crystal Palace in 2018-19.
Number 22.
And they're also bringing on Koke, 34 years young, 727 appearances now for Atletico Madrid. A one-club man, made his debut back in 2009. And the players coming off is Molina making way for Koke, and Lookman has made way for Sorloth. So Sorloth's going to lead the line. Koke's going into midfield, and Llorente is going back to the right back position that Molina was occupying. So, bit of a shift in emphasis. They've got a target man up front now, Alvin Martin.
Yeah, but look, they're hanging on. They're hanging on at the moment, and if Spurs were to get another goal, it would be really interesting. The last thing he needs, Simeone, is for that to happen. So I think he's got to do something about the way this game's actually going, because he can't be happy.
Spence making a great run down the left-hand side, taking Llorente with him. Good strength as well, Jed Spence, down by the corner flag. Can't keep it away from Simeone. Gray trying to win it back, but it's smuggled clear. And Simeone thought about hitting a long ball downfield, because Sorloth had made a run, but it goes infield instead to Cardoso. Cardoso under pressure, just turns away from trouble at the last.
Good
gives
game,
it back to his centre half. Now here's Alvarez. Sorloth gets his first involvement, receiving it down the inside left channel. Faced up by Romero. Just on the overlap is Ruggieri. Oh, what a challenge, Van der Ven. Sliding in, corner kick, took the ball. Ruggieri goes down in a heap. Spurs lead 2-1. This is good fun, this.
Yeah, fabulous challenge this by Van der Ven. Really was. Just about to pull the trigger. He's come in, took the ball, and he's actually kicked into him, hasn't he? He's injured himself, really.
Liverpool 4, Galatasaray 0. They really are going through the gears at Anfield, and Mo Salah missed a penalty in the first half, scores the fourth goal. That's live on Talksport, but Liverpool are home and hosed. 25 minutes to go. 2-1 Spurs. A corner to defend, though. Swung in from this near side, headed out by Sarr. Comes out to Koke, drives it back in front of goal. Griezmann tried to send it back across the face of goal. He was in an offside position. It'll be a free kick to Tottenham, and Vicario suddenly realises it's a free kick and hurries up about grabbing the loose ball from behind the goal.
He's going to make a change, it looks like, here, doesn't it, Fuder? But he hasn't got that many options, really, Dan, to be fair to him, has he?
It's Destiny Udogie that's about to come on for Tottenham, who's been out for a little while, and he's going to come on for Dragusin. So that's a left-sided defender come midfielder for a centre-half, Alvin. So that's a shifted emphasis from Igor Tudor as well.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit, Dragusin, to be fair.
So Spencer's come across to the right-hand side, Udogie to his natural habitat of the left. So I'm assuming that means it's just a two-man centre-half of Romero and Van der Ven, and Sarr might drop a little deeper into defensive midfield. You're listening to Tottenham 2, Atletico 1 in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. Approaching the midway point of the second half. Spurs still need 2 goals without reply just to force the extra 30 minutes in this round of 16 time. Vicario clears downfield, long and straight, over the head of Tell, but the second ball drops for Xavi Simons. He finds Tell, who's got Udogie making a strong run down the left-hand side. He's not being used yet. Tell goes for the byline, pulls it back. Cardoso takes an awkward touch and gets it half clear. Van der Ven onto the loose ball. Everybody back defending for Atleti. Down the left-hand side it goes for Matisse Tell. Rolls it back to Udogie. Now Simons. Back to Van der Ven again, just in front of the halfway line. Square ball to his right for Romero in the centre circle. He just chips the ball into the box. Can Tell get there? Not quite. In actual fact, it was Udogie that made the run, I beg your pardon, into the box, but couldn't quite reach it. It's gone behind for an Atletico Madrid goal kick at the south stand end to our right, and they're going to take their time over these set pieces now.
Well, you can tell that they're not happy the way the game's gone. They're wasting time. And that's not a team that, is strolling, is controlling the game. They're a little concerned at the moment, I think, Atletico. And if they were to get another goal, then you'd fancy maybe to go on and nick another Spurs, because they're playing with a lot of confidence here.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Into the last quarter of the 90. Here on the left-hand side is Destiny Udogie. Takes the ball to about 20 yards inside Atleti territory. Then it's rolled back to halfway. Sarr plays a little ball around the corner for Gray. Gray quickly into the feet of Tell. Tell out to the left-hand side. Udogie, early cross into the near post. Ooh, and almost made a mess of it between Hanko and Musso, the goalkeeper. But Musso kept his eye on the ball and grabbed hold of it with Kolo Muani lurking.
He got lucky, but he played advantage there, the referee. Great play again by Gray. He was taken out, but the ball broke to a Tottenham player, so he let it go on.
Oh, heavy touch there from Tell, but he worked hard to win it back. Goodness me. Simons knocks it back to halfway, and Udogie. They're winning all the bits and pieces at the moment, Tottenham.
Well, the commitment has been brilliant, Dan. They're winning hard work a lot of the time. It gets you winning tackles.
But Atleti win it back, and Griezmann sends it out to the left-hand side for Alvarez. Gets past Van der Ven and into the area to the dead ball line. Great twinkle toes, gets the shot away, blocked by the chest of Vicario. What a run from Julian Alvarez.
Wow. Did everything but score, didn't he? Did everything. I mean, Van der Ven, he just took him out. He just left him for dead, really.
Not many people that do that to Mickey Van der Ven.
Then he gets in, and the angle's always against him. He beats another player and then brings a save out of Vicario. But look, it's great play by him. Individually, fantastic.
Diogo Simeone sank to his knees in his technical area as that came so close. Just over 20 minutes to go, Alvin. 2-1 Tottenham.
Well, it's been a fabulous game, and I think from Tottenham's point of view, whatever happens between now and the end, I think they've taken another step forward here tonight, no doubt about that.
And their opponents on Sunday here, Nottingham Forest, play tomorrow tea time. 1 goal deficit to FC Midtjylland.
They play like this against Forest, they'll win.
I don't disagree with you. Kolo Muani knocks it down on halfway. Atleti bring it forward again. Sorlot down the left-hand side. Romero sticking with him. Clips it infield to Koke. Now Alvarez dropping deeper. Flicks it back to Cardoso. Back out to this near side. And Koke. Sorlot. I ran into Christian Romero. Spurs win the throw. 20 minutes to go. Time is starting to run out, though. The sands of time, you can just feel it trickling away from Spurs. They need to get another goal, I would suggest, fairly quickly, Alvin Martin.
Yeah. It's a shame, really, about the one that they've conceded, isn't it? There'll be a lot of debate, a lot of talk after the game about that one. I think they'll feel hard done by.
Good turn from Tell, just in front of the centre circle, then spots Udogie in space left-hand side, tries to feed it across to him. It's good defending, though, from Simeone, and then Griezmann shows a clean pair of heels to Simons, and the ball's back with Ruggieri, the left back. Hanco and Lenormand, the centre halves, exchange passes. Llorente now playing at right back for Atleti. Plays the ball through the legs of Simons and finds Koke. He's got a bit of space to run over halfway. Gray now trying to get back goal side. Koke strokes it out to Simeone. Back in field for Koke once more. Quick ball down the right side of the box for Alvarez. Drives it against Archie Gray, who blocks the shot and then keeps the ball away from Alvarez.
He's been brilliant.
And plays it downfield, hasn't he?
He has been brilliant.
And then Spurs get the benefit of a couple of 50-50s. And then Koke. Well, there's going to be a yellow card here for a challenge by Destiny Udogie, who's not long come on for Dragusin. Left his foot in. And so the Spurs substitute becomes the third player booked for Tottenham. Dragusin has since gone off. And Lucas Bergvall, who's not long back on the grass on the Tottenham training pitch, is going to get 15 minutes or so here. The signing from Djurgården is going to get the last 15 minutes or so after this free kick. Is the substitution going to be made before the Atleti free kick is taken? No, Bergvall will have to wait just a little longer. Griezmann plays the free kick short and gets it back, drills it across to Ruggieri just ahead of the centre circle. Alvarez, faced up by Gray, nicks it infield to Cardoso, who's fouled by Romero, who pleads his innocence. He's got to be careful because he's on a yellow, but that gives Atleti a really dangerous free kick position here, just about between 25 and 30 yards out, just to the left of centre, Alvin.
Yeah, you can have no complaints about the foul, and he's lucky that's not a booking as well, Dan.
Substitution for Spurs replacing number 23.
Well, here comes the change, and it's a midfielder for a fullback. Pedro Porro's put in a good shift tonight and was so close to getting a brilliant goal for Tottenham, but he makes way for the 20-year-old Lucas Bergvall, who last scored a goal for Spurs in September against West Ham United. But his first job is to go into the Spurs wall, is it? No, he's going to move away. It's only a two-man Spurs wall that's being set up here by Vicario. Now, I know it's a fair way out, but that's almost temptation for either Alvarez or Griezmann to have a crack at goal here, Alvin.
Yeah, I think it's a fair way out, but I think it's doable.
2-1 Spurs. Less than 17 minutes to play on Talksport 2. Griezmann will leave it for Alvarez. Right-footed, and it's tipped over by Vicario. That was on target. He had to make something there, Vicario, because the whip on that free kick from Alvarez was vicious.
Really well executed free kick, wasn't it? It just was coming down. Whether or not it would have gone in, I don't know, but he wasn't to know. I think he took no chances. Might have hit the bar, might have hit the underside of the bar. Whatever it was a lovely, lovely executed free kick, and he's done well there, Vicario.
And Alvarez has come across to take the corner kick that resulted from that at the north stand end for Atleti. Still plenty forward.
Every Spurs player back in that box now.
Yep, here it comes from Alvarez. Flicked on and in! And it's made so by David Hanco. It's back to 2-2. It's back to a 3-goal deficit. And despite all the efforts that Spurs are putting in the second half, they're undone by a set piece. Hanco ghosting in at the near post, flicked the header in past Vicario, and it's all square on the night. But crucially, it's now 7-4 on aggregate to Atletico Madrid.
Well, Hanco makes a run past the near post. How on earth he's got that into that tight gap and redirected it at that angle? It's more or less an impossible header dance. You know, it's the only place it could have gone. He could not have meant it. He's just headed towards goal, but it's found the bottom right-hand corner. They are, I mean, look, they're unlucky there. You could give him that ball another 30 times and he would not be able to do that.
It's his second Champions League goal of the season. David Hanco, who signed last summer from Feyenoord, and that may well put out the fire that Tottenham Hotspur have been trying to light all night. Oh, now Spencer's been dispossessed by Alvarez into the area, blocked by a crucial tackle from Christian Romero. And Spurs survived that attack, but in comes the ball from Ruggieri. Header out, finds Cardoso. Bergvall tries to bring the ball clear, but he's running to Koke, who wins it back for Atleti. And now it's rolled back to Ruggieri. And that atmosphere has been popped like a balloon inside this stadium. 2-2.
I think in the cold light of day, I said it though, I think this has been a step forward for them.
Here's now Sorloth making his way into the area for Atleti. Shot is blocked by Spence. Another corner to Atletico Madrid. And they want to win this game. They don't want to have a draw to take back to Madrid. They want to win both legs, it seems to me. Plenty of ambition left in them.
There's been moments in this game, Dance, when it could so easily have gone towards Tottenham rather than away from them. You know, the crucial moments probably have not favoured them.
So a corner kick. And once again it's Julian Alvarez to take it. The last corner from this side created the equaliser for Hanko. It's up again, but it's headed out to the edge of the box. Teed up for Simeone to try a drive, blocked by Romero. Spurs get it clear. Knocked down by Tell for Kolomuani. Tell's gone ahead of the Frenchman Kolomuani. Flicks it in field for Simons, who lays it off to Sarr. Now Gray. Plays it left for Bergvall. Quick ball out to the left-hand side, and Tell running at Simeone, gets inside his man, but Llorente picks up the loose ball for Atleti, and Griezmann's there to help out in his own defensive third. So not a good crossfield ball though from Griezmann, bit of a collector's item that.
It's the first ball he's given away.
Ball's back with Tottenham Hotspur. Tell puts the ball early into the box. It's volleyed clear by Lenormand. But then Gray recycles it back out to the left-hand side, and Udogi. He lays it off to Papsar, 30 yards from goal. Simons with his back to play, forced back towards the centre circle. Plays it across to Spence, who keeps the ball away from Julian Alvarez. And then nutmegs Sorloth on halfway. Well, he gave the ball away a couple of minutes ago, and that nearly led to a third for Atleti, but that was very casual defending from Jed Spence. Well, he was the last man, effectively, Alvin.
Yeah, he's got caught a couple of times. You know, no options on the ball, and you've got two players closing you down. Like you say, he got robbed a few minutes ago, which made it make an even more nervous scenario for him. But look, the sting's been taken out of the game now, isn't it? Really, you know, they're looking pretty comfortable now, Atletico.
So it's 2-1 here, or 2-2 rather, to give Atleti an aggregate lead of 7-4. Liverpool 4-0 up on Talksport against Galatasaray. Bayern Munich 4-0 up on Atalanta. That's a 10-1 aggregate. And a couple of changes being, well, 3 changes being readied. Danso is being readied. So too is Callum Oluseyi, who got a few minutes at Anfield on Sunday. He's getting some final instructions, but there's a long throw coming in from Bergvall, hurled in to the near post, headed up and out by Sorloth defending. Brought down by Udogi 30 yards from goal. Simons manages to shovel it out to the right-hand side, and Lucas Bergvall again approaching the right-hand corner of the area. Chips it into the box, hits an Atleti defender, comes back out to Archie Gray. Feeds Bergvall once more. Gray's gone again to the dead ball line. Can he whip the crossing? He can. Deep to the far post. Headed up in the air for Tell. Brought the ball down himself, but Atleti get it clear. And it's brought away, but only as far as Udogi. Gray looks to float it out to the left-hand side for Tell. Intercepted by Koke. Conor Gallagher's the other player of the 3 that's coming on to get a few minutes against his old club. Conor Gallagher, who was going to be playing against Liverpool on Sunday, but then illness ruled him out. He's well enough to play tonight. And Archie Gray is the player coming off for Gallagher. And what a shift Archie Gray has put in for Tottenham Hotspur tonight. And that's the applause you can hear. That's specifically for Archie Gray and for Mathys Tell, who's also going off. They're both walking around the perimeter of the pitch. And Christian Romero, who is on a yellow card, is the third player to be substituted to make way for Kevin Danso. But for Tell and particularly for Gray, that applause is completely justified.
I think, again, I think you can see by tonight's performance, both individuals there, they're getting really applauded as they walk around the back of that goal, aren't they? They need to be fresh, really, for the next games. The next game's massive for them, and you can see the manager wants to protect, especially those two individuals, because they have been the outstanding individuals in this performance.
Yeah, both Tell and Gray walking behind the goal at the South Stand end. Still 1-0 to Southampton in the Championship. In added time against Norwich, that first half goal from Finazaz, putting Southampton into the top 6 as things stand. Alex Baena going to be coming on shortly for Atletico Madrid. Former Villarreal player. Ball's back with Vicario. Atleti fans singing and dancing and celebrating. Safe passage through to the quarterfinals, where they will face the might of Barcelona, who thrashed Newcastle by 7-2 earlier today, live on Talksport 2, to win 8-3 on aggregate. But I guess for Tottenham, Igor Tudor will want to win his first game in charge, even if it's a win that ultimately means nothing, Alvin.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, this team is playing with confidence. It's been together as a team. You can see it's been a collective.
Good run from Bergvall, gets the cross in. It's just ahead of Kolo Muani. Griezmann again back helping out his defence. Plays a neat ball out of the back four, but then Cardoso gets dispossessed by Pap Sarr. Sarr running up to the edge of the area, trying to flick it right for Kolo Muani. Atleti can only get it half clear. Out to the left-hand side it goes. Udogi faced up by Simeone. Good footing from Simeone, and he gets away down the left-hand side from Gallagher. And then a foul by Udogi gives Atletico Madrid a free kick, and the doggy's got to be careful because he's on a yellow card as well. 2-2.
I think the other thing to remember here is, that they're no Solanke, no Richarlison. Would they improve this performance? I think they would have, because that's a part of the pitch that they need to certainly be better, even taking into consideration tonight's performance, which has been really positive. So yeah, I think there's certainly a way forward for Tottenham. I think that's what the Tottenham fans will see today, and certainly the Tottenham manager will feel that.
Throw for Spence to be taken right in front of us, but not before. A couple of changes for Atleti. And Nicolas Gonzalez, who's on loan from Juventus, also coming on. So Griezmann is coming off, and so too is Alvarez, who scored a quite sumptuous goal to change the atmosphere here and bring Atleti level. Griezmann, as always, brilliant professional. But Alex Baena, who joined after 7 years at Villarreal last summer, he's on, and so too is Gonzalez. And we have 6 minutes of normal time to play here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Talksport 2, where it is 2-2. And Pap Sarr being forced back, and he's dispossessed on that right-hand side, but Bergvall rescues it for Tottenham Hotspur. You're listening to Tottenham 2, Atletico 2 in the Champions League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. Down the left-hand side, it's with Udogi. But Llorente playing it right back now helps to get it clear. One back by Bergvall, but used his hand to win it back. Free kick given. Don't forget, the sports bar will be getting underway around about 10 over on Talksport with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. If Jamie O'Hara's got a problem with this performance from Tottenham Hotspur, his team, I want to know about it. But he will be taking your calls. I'm sure that Jason will still be poking him with sticks. But Liverpool are through. Spurs are going out, but certainly with more of a bang than the whimper that Chelsea went out with last night, facing a similar 3-goal deficit going into a second leg. But Atleti have a throw down by the corner flag, and they want to play out time here.
When you think about the two legs as well, Dan, the goals that they gave away in that first leg were criminal, weren't they? The 3 goals, terrible. If only, it's always if onlys in football.
If ifs and ands were pots and pans, as my nan used to say. Vicario claims the loose ball inside his penalty area. Sarr gets a huge set of man on as he was being closed down at the edge of the area by Baena. Ball played up to Oluseyi. Good turn from Oluseyi, running into the Atleti half. Flicks it to his right for Kolo Muani, who's offside. I could see that from here as he collected it. Free kick. But Callum Oluseyi from the academy, as I say, he got a few minutes against Liverpool on Sunday, Alvin, and he was part of that collective effort that saw Richarlison get that equaliser.
Just played it in behind Muani there, didn't he? Didn't the forward his chance really. That's got to be spot on, in terms of the pace of the legs on the ball and direction. He didn't get it right. At this level, it's got to be perfect football to get you in.
Well, Dad's taking his son off. Giuliano Simeone getting the hook from his boss, Diego Simeone. And that's to allow Jose Jimenez, Uruguayan, to come on. Wonder whether he'll be playing for Uruguay when they're at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. You're there, Alvin, are you not?
The
Uruguay game?
Yeah, the Japan game I'm going to. I'm looking forward to that,
England with a couple of friendlies. Squad is named on Friday. Now away go Atleti down the left-hand side, but that's good defending to deny Gonzalez a route to the dead ball line by Jed Spence. He's another player that's put in a good shift tonight, playing in a couple of different positions too, Jed Spence.
And you've got to give credit to the crowd here. The Tottenham faithful have turned up. They're still here. There's been times when it's been so disappointing. A lot of them have left early, but tonight they've stuck with their team. They've seen a good performance.
And they're set to get a 2-2 scoreline here, which ultimately means they lose 7-4 on aggregate. But again, it just feels like the building blocks being put in place, and you can hear when the Spurs go marching in, being sung slow around the stadium. I think that means quite a lot to these Spurs players to hear the fans singing that.
Well, there'll have been times over the last 2 or 3 months, Dance, where the last sort of 15 minutes of these games would have been painful, not just for the fans but for the players as well. This will be at the end of it will be a positive end to the game in terms of what the fans say to the players. Really, I think like I said, I stand by what I said. If they play up to this level in the next Premier League game, they'll win.
Here is Oluseyi finding Bergvall for Spurs, right-hand corner of the penalty area. Heading for the last minute of normal time. Touch back to Simons, runs into the area, goes down, penalty. They've got a chance to win the game, Tottenham. As Simons was brought down by Jimenez. It's a penalty to Tottenham at the South Stand end. Can they get a first win for their new manager, Igor Tudor? Penalty kick, Alvin.
And again, Simons, he's been good tonight. He's, in the tight areas where he plays, he's been technically proficient. He's always wanted the ball, even when he's marked, and he very rarely has given the ball away. His touch has been excellent, and he's got the opportunity now to cap it with a goal, because he has been excellent.
He scored early in the second half, Simons, at that end, and they're happy that the penalty is good to go. They've had a check at the VAR hub, and the goalkeeper just been reminded of his responsibilities by the referee. So Xavi Simons with a chance to put Spurs ahead as we head towards the 90-minute mark. Straight run up from Simons, right-footed, scores, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, plants it in the bottom of the net, still goes to retrieve the ball, quickly thinking they can get 2 goals in added time. I like that attitude, but it does mean that Spurs are on the verge of winning their first game for their new manager. 3-2.
I think he comes into the game now, you see a lot of these players, the chests are pumped out, he's got himself a couple of goals now, full of confidence. Look, it does bode well for the next game, it really does, and they could have had more goals tonight, and on a different night, you know, I said that maybe a run of fortune has gone against them at times. I felt that, you know, the goal that they got back in with Atletico, well, there could have been a foul given on Sands. You know, he went down midway in his half. I thought it was a foul. The referee played on. It wasn't going to be swayed by VAR, and I felt there was a case there really for Tottenham, and they were all done by.
They've added 5 minutes on at the end, the officials. Spurs need 2 goals in that 5 minutes to force extra time. And they win a free kick on halfway for a challenge on Gallagher. Southampton have beaten Norwich 1-0. Southampton goes 6th in the table, into the playoffs with that win at St Mary's. Bayern Munich 4, Atalanta 1. Comebacks on for Atalanta. 10-2 now on aggregate to the Germans. Spence on halfway. Back for Danso. Danso has to go back for his keeper Vicario. Clears first time, doesn't reach halfway. Sorloth brings the ball down, but Bergvall runs across him, wins the ball back, and then gets his shirt pulled. Yellow card for the Norwegian. Free kick to Tottenham. 3-2. Be a free kick to be taken by Simons inside his own half. Still MK Dons 1, Colchester 0 in added time in League 2. MK Dons staying second. Simons lifts the ball up to the edge of the area, flicked on, it might break in the area for Kolo Muani, blocked on the way to goal. Kolo Muani again tries to drive it across the face of goal. Brilliant challenge from Llorente. Cross comes back in. Olasesi can't make anything of it. Suddenly the ball broke for Spurs in front of goal, and they have it again. Right hand side with Spence. Little back flick from Bergvall, trying to get Spence in again. Cleared away by Ruggieri. They still believe in this Tottenham team.
Maybe even more. He should have done better there. The ball fell to him, 7 yards out? And he's hit it, really. It's been blocked by a defender, but I think the keeper would have had it covered as well. He's got to find a top corner there. There's got to be a better finish.
Here comes the throw from Bergvall. Headed away by Ruggieri, volleyed back into the area by Sarr. Down goes Gallagher. Wants another penalty, told to get up. Van der Ven has a shot, blocked behind for a corner. Maybe VAR will take a look at this, because Gallagher went down on the 6-yard line. Igor Tudor believes it should be a spot kick. We'll have a look at the replay. Alvin Martin.
No, he's gone down too easy.
He's made an absolute meal of that as Conor Gallagher.
A little touch on the shoulder, wasn't going to get to the ball, went down.
They look convincing from down here, or up here rather. So a corner kick to be taken by Simons, who's just trying to get somebody's attention in the 6-yard box. Got about 20 players to look at in that 6-yard box. In it comes.
Down.
Headed up in the air to the edge of the area, volleyed back in by Spence. Oh, now there's a break on for Atletico Madrid. It's Baena, but he's not got the pace to outstrip Jed Spence. How about that from Jed Spence? Great work from him to get back at him. Now it's with Xavi Simons making a weaving run through the midfield. Danso trying to get a piece of it, pushes the player to the ground. Free kick to Atletico Madrid, and they'll waste a few seconds here. 3-2 to Tottenham.
It's great to see some of these Tottenham players are actually enjoying playing the game. There would have been a lot of games here that they would not have enjoyed, but Simons really, especially, you know, a couple of goals, and whenever the ball goes to him, he wants it now, and he always feels something's going to happen. Spence making a fantastic challenge there right at the end, got a massive cheer. Oh yeah, it's absolutely, you know.
It's quite a sight though as well, because Baena's fresh on the field, and Spence has played the full 93 minutes plus. Caught him up very quickly. That was impressive.
There was a long way for him to run with that ball, wasn't there?
There was. Now, Papsar finds Simons just shy of the halfway line. Spence has it again for Tottenham Hotspur. Trying to roll his defender, goes down, throwing given the Spaniards' way. It's almost done and dusted. Atleti will go through 7-5 on aggregate. But listen to the singing around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
They'll take this into the next game as well. You know, against Nottingham Forest, it'll be like this. There you go.
Full-time whistle goes, And the applause around Tottenham Hotspur Stadium shows you what that Spurs performance was like tonight. Igor Tudor gets his first win as Tottenham manager. Ultimately, it's in vain in terms of the aggregate score in this tie, and Spurs go out of the Champions League 7-5 on aggregate, but they won here by 3-2, and the performance was that very much that of a team who are not, it would appear, struggling in the Premier League, but they are going into a crucial game on Sunday afternoon here against Nottingham Forest. But the confidence they will derive from the last half an hour against Liverpool and the 90 minutes plus here would surely stand Spurs in good stead for what's to come. They took the lead in the first half through Randall Kolo-Muani's header on the half hour. They held that lead to half time, but not long after the second half started, Julian Alvarez cracked in a beauty to level it up 1-1. Xavi Simons with an equally good effort from the edge of the area put Spurs back in front 5 minutes later. But then a corner routine 15 minutes from time saw David Hanko ghost in at the near post to head Atletico back level. But there was still time for Spurs to win on the night. A penalty awarded, and Xavi Simons sent the keeper the wrong way. Igor Tudor has a win. It's not a win that means anything in the grand scheme of things, certainly not in terms of this match. But it means so much, Alvin Martin, in terms of the confidence that these players will get from doing what they've done tonight.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Dan, they've gone away at Anfield and they've got a point. They've come here against Atletico Madrid, one of the best sides in Europe, vastly experienced in the Champions League, and they've won again. So they've come in with a draw away at Anfield and a win here against a really good side. That's 2 games. You go into the next one, you carry that sort of level of performance into that. You'll certainly carry the fans into it, because the fans have stayed here, they appreciate the performance. You know, they're not idiot. Football fans know what they're looking at. They can see it was a committed performance in difficult circumstances, and they've applauded it and they've thanked the team for it. And you only get out of the trouble that Tottenham are in together. That means the players, the management and the fans all sticking together when it really matters, and that's what's going to happen against Nottingham Forest.
Well, they're doing their little mini lap of honour, the Spurs players, and lots of Spurs fans have stayed behind. But Atletico through to take on Barcelona in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. So another English side bows out at this stage. But compared to Chelsea last night, who went out with a whimper, Spurs went out with a bang.
And it could have been even better. There were pivotal moments in this game that didn't go for Spurs. They probably went for Atletico. Otherwise, we could have been seeing one of the great comebacks. It didn't happen, and that's the way things go. But like what they did, they forced the issue. They came in with a tactical plan against a very good team, and they executed that plan. I was so very close to maybe turning it into one of the miraculous comebacks.
Well, let's do the Man of the Match award, shall we, Alvin? Let's find out who you picked as Man of the Match with our friends at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
I've not discussed it with you, but I think I know who you're going to go for.
Well, do you know what? There were 2 or 3 Spurs players that came to mind. One of them didn't finish the game. Gray, who I thought was fantastic throughout. But I'm going to give it to Siemens, because I think he was the one that got himself a couple of goals, was always at the centre of, where what was good going forward. He really looked like his confidence has returned to a really high level. And, tonight you can see he led with the ball and took, a lot of responsibility on.
There you go, Xavi Simons gets the nod from Alvin for our Man of the Match Here for It hero with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.